Welcome to the Cheating and Love Tales channel. Silence, and then a buzzing in the darkness. It's like a tiny drill, pulsing in my pocket. Vrr, vrr, vrr. My phone vibrates on the bedside table, the screen lighting up the ceiling in a ghostly glow. I stare at it without moving a muscle. My chest feels tight, stiff, like I just finished a marathon and can't catch my breath. The air around me is cold. Still, for a moment, I think I'm dreaming. Or maybe I'm awake and simply hoping I'm not. I lean over, grab the phone, and there it is, the lock screen. It lights up to show a name I never thought I'd see at 2 a.m. Dan. I know exactly who that is, but I pretend I don't. Because maybe if I pretend, it won't hurt as much. I unlock the phone, my heart hammering so hard that I can hear blood rushing in my ears. A swirl of messages floods the screen. I don't tap them. I glance, more than enough to confirm a suspicion that's been crawling under my skin, but I'm not ready to read it all. Instead, I exhale, set the phone down, and let the silence reclaim the room. She's not home. I lie there, wide awake, listening to my own heartbeat. My side of the bed feels like an ice floe. I can't remember the last time she left me a message if she was going to be late. Maybe I stopped expecting her to. Maybe she just stopped pretending. 5 weeks. No, it's been longer than that. The exact count is a blur, but the suspicion started in subtle ways. A sudden new routine, distant eyes, a softness in her voice that wasn't meant for me. I close my eyes, trying to block it all out, but that phone vibrates again. I clench my jaw. There's a physical ache building in my chest that radiates into my shoulder, like a muscle cramp from too many miles run at too fast a pace. I want to throw the phone across the room, shatter it, kill the evidence, and cling to some naive hope. But I don't. Instead, I pick it up again. This time, I read every word. Miss you. Soon. So worth the risk. His name. Dan. My wife's lover. I grip the phone so tightly my knuckles turn white. My left arm twitches with a surge of adrenaline. I can almost hear a crack in my spine as my body tenses, demanding some form of release. But all I do is slip the phone back onto the nightstand. The next wave of silence is deafening. I keep replaying the conversation threads in my mind, the half-formed images forming like a slow, torturous slideshow. His hands on her voice calling his name. That's enough for tonight, or morning, whichever. I force myself to breathe, to gather the broken pieces of my self-control. There's a chill in the house, a literal cold seeping in from outside that bites at my feet when I swing them out of bed. The sensation stings. I think about how cold is an emotion too. It's the absence of warmth, yes, but it's also presence of everything that's harsh and unfeeling, everything that creeps in when love dies. And right now, that cold is inside me, throbbing behind my eyes. I dress in silence. Sweatpants, a hoodie, socks that are too thin to do any good. My body's rigid with tension as I head downstairs, each step echoing like a verdict in an empty courthouse. The living room's dark. I don't bother flipping on the lights. I just sink onto the sofa and stare through the window at the colorless night. I'm not sure how long I sit there, hands balled into fists, hearing only my pulse and the rhythmic drip of the kitchen faucet. But eventually, the lock on the front door clicks. She's home. Her footsteps are light. She freezes when she sees me, this silhouette in the dark, perched on the couch like a guard dog waiting for an intruder. She doesn't say anything. Maybe she's trying to gather her own words or gauge my mood. I can't make out her expression, but I smell that scent. Not mine. A cologne that's heavier than anything I own. It's there, clinging to her, soft yet piercing. "What are you doing up?" she asks finally, her voice quiet but sharp at the edges. She might be tired, but I'm not sure she's surprised. She flicks on a lamp, and the sudden glow slashes across the room. I stand. My muscles ache. Couldn't sleep. I say, my tone cold, measured, as if each word is a piece of evidence. There's a tremor in my leg and a faint burn in my arm from tensing so hard. But I keep my face controlled, aggressively controlled. Everything all right. She looks away. Yes, I went out with a friend. She crosses her arms, as if that can hide the smell of him. I just nod, like a judge who already knows the verdict, but is giving the defendant a final chance. You're sure? A silence follows. She steps back. Her face is pale, eyes downcast. She mumbles something about being tired, about her phone dying. But she won't look at me. Finally, she shuffles upstairs, leaving a cold gap in the air between us. I watch her go. My body is rigid, as though I'm braced for a blow that never lands. The old me would have confronted her, demanded answers, raised my voice in righteous anger. But that old me is gone, replaced by a man who's seen the messages, the pictures, the logs of her location. A man who has meticulously documented every lie. My job taught me how to gather evidence, how to build an unassailable case. And right now, there's an entire dossier on my laptop that would make any judge recoil. A nauseating library of betrayal. I wait until I hear the bedroom door click shut. Then I slip out of the house, into the night, and let the chill swallow me. There's a sensation in my chest, like someone's tightening a clamp around my ribs. My breath steams in the cool air. I walk to my car, start the engine, and sit in the driver's seat with my eyes closed. I can't drive anywhere. I don't have a destination. But I let the engine idle, the faint vibration from the steering wheel grounding me. This is me, I remind myself. Jonathan Abbott, investigative reporter, age 39, married. A husband who has discovered the most intimate form of betrayal. In my line of work, I've read about it. I've written about it. But I never thought it'd be me. I lean forward until my forehead presses against the steering wheel. There's a physical pain, an ache that radiates from my back up through my neck. Stress, heartbreak, fury. It's all the same chain of tension pulling my bones in unnatural directions. And I realize, this is just the beginning. This is the start of something I don't fully comprehend yet. That night, I do nothing except return to bed, slip under the sheets, and stare at the ceiling until dawn. She's in the house somewhere, maybe even in the same bed. I can't feel her presence anymore. The entire room is an iceberg. When morning comes, I step into the shower. The hot water hits my skin, but I still feel cold inside, the kind of cold that no heat can melt. I close my eyes, letting the water beat against my back. In that darkness, I see glimpses of them together, her hair splayed across some other pillow, his hands gripping her waist. My stomach churns with such intensity that I nearly vomit. The physical reaction shocks me. I've never felt heartbreak so tangibly in my gut before. I dress for work in something plain. Slacks, a white shirt, no tie. I look at myself in the mirror and see a man with sunken eyes, hollow cheeks, and a stiff posture. There's no life behind those eyes, just a flicker of determination. Or maybe madness. Downstairs, she's sipping coffee at the counter, eyes puffy from lack of sleep, or guilt, or both. I sense her gaze on me, but I don't meet it. Instead, I speak with that same courtroom finality. I'll be late tonight. She hesitates. Okay. I grab my keys, the tension in my shoulders like a coil wound too tight. Don't wait up. Then I leave without another word. In the following days, I do what I do best. Investigate. I hire people, one to follow, one to take photos, one to hack phone logs. My finances allow it. My professional connections ensure discretion. I get the pictures I need in record time. Them in his car, windows fogged, them kissing outside a restaurant, them meeting in a hotel lobby. Each photograph is a dagger shoved between my ribs, but I keep collecting, piling them up like bricks in a wall that's going to crush her. But I don't confront her. Not yet. I come home, stare at her across the dinner table, and see her trying so hard to be normal. Asking about my day, my deadlines, as if that stench of another man isn't clinging to her every time she exhales. She's wearing more perfume now, maybe trying to mask him, but it doesn't work. At night, I lie beside her, not touching, not speaking. Each day, she sleeps less. I can feel her trembling sometimes. She must wonder what I know, how close I am to snapping. But I say nothing. Instead, I watch the tension break her down by degrees. One night, around the 5th week, I walk into the bedroom. She's there, curled up in a ball, eyes open in the dark. She startles when I switch on the lamp. I can see the tear streaks on her face, and for a split second, a pang of sympathy stabs me. Then I remember the messages, the pictures, the calls. My sympathy turns to ice. Slowly, methodically, I begin taping the printed messages to the walls. Every text exchange, every flirty emoticon, every "I miss you," and soon. I plaster them around the room like I'm wallpapering it with betrayal. She sits up, horror dawning in her eyes, her lips parting in silent protest. But no words come. I keep going, working in total silence, my jaw set, my hands steady. When I run out of messages, I move on to the pictures. I take them over the headboard, across the dresser. Anywhere, there's an empty patch of wall. Photos of them kissing, her leaning on his shoulder, the blurred outline of him in a half-lit car while her face is turned to him, parted lips, eyes closed. Every piece of evidence is a statement, like a People's Exhibit A, B, and C in a courtroom drama. At some point, she stands, tears slipping down her cheeks. She tries to speak. "John," but I raise a hand. An unmistakable motion for silence, the same gesture I've seen attorneys use to cut off irrelevant testimony. I step back to admire my work. The entire bedroom is covered in them. She's trembling. I can see her hands shaking at her sides. She tries to wipe her tears, but it's almost mechanical, like she's sweeping away dust on autopilot. "You knew," she whispers. "You knew all this time." I say nothing. My chest hurts with each breath. The tension in my throat is so severe I feel like I might pass out. For a moment, the physical pain flickers in my left arm, near my shoulder, an agonizing cramp that begs for relief. But I hold steady. She stares at me, tears still streaming, waiting for me to lash out, to call her names, to break something. But I don't. I give her a last cold look, then walk out. No explanation. No shouted accusations. My silence is the verdict. In the following days, I barely exist in her world. I leave early for work, come home late, and say nothing except the bare minimum. She tries to explain, or maybe tries to beg for forgiveness. Her lips move, but I don't hear it. It's just noise. I can sense her unraveling. Sleep has abandoned her. Sometimes I see the light under the bedroom door at 3 in the morning, the faint sound of her pacing. She's living in a perpetual state of waiting, braced for a meltdown that never comes. The physical pain grows in me like a tumor. My chest is tight day and night. My back seizes up. Each step feels like I'm walking on pins. But I embrace it, feed off it, because it reminds me that I'm alive, that I can still function in this new reality. I walk around the house with the stoic calm of a man planning a war. She's more broken every time our eyes meet. I track her phone. I track his phone. I know exactly when they meet. I have men snapping more photos, capturing the angles that look like freeze frames in a surreal documentary. I watch them through a lens, never interfering, never confronting. For some reason, that feels more agonizing than if I had kicked down his door in a blind rage. I watch them in secret, see them share intimate glances and fleeting touches, and it cards me up inside. Finally, the time comes for me to close the case. I'm done gathering. I have everything. The investigators deliver logs, phone calls, recordings. One of them was cunning enough to plant a small bug in Dan's car. Now I have audio of them whispering to each other, moaning in breathless hushes. It's enough to make me retch, but I need it. I need every last piece of evidence so I can bury her illusions of escape. It's Friday night. Rain pummels the windows in relentless sheets. She's sitting at the kitchen table when I get home, her eyes ringed with fatigue, hands cupping a mug of tea gone cold. The overhead light flickers slightly, and for a second her face looks hollow, ghost-like. She tries to speak, to stand, but I raise one finger, the universal sign of don't. I place a thick envelope on the table, then a stack of flash drives. I set them down one by one, each making a sharp, decisive click on the polished wood. She watches, trembling. Play them, I say. My voice emerges like a gravelly echo, barely recognizable even to me. Her eyes dart to the envelope. She lifts the flap, hesitates, then pulls out the photographs. The explicit ones are on top. His hands on her bare waist, her head thrown back. My entire chest tightens seeing them again, in real color. A wave of physical pain hits me, so intense I almost double over, but I force myself to stand firm. I watch her face crumble as she flips through each photo. Tears spill, and her breathing grows erratic. She starts to speak, stammers, tries to form an explanation. Her voice breaks. It wasn't. I couldn't. She chokes, shakes her head. John, please. I hold out a hand again, silencing her. You're done, I say, each syllable delivered like a judge delivering sentence. There's nothing left to say. Her lip trembles. I'm sorry. It's barely audible. The air around us is thick with tension. She reaches for me, but I jerk away, a harsh movement that makes her gasp. Don't, I say. Not anymore. She looks like she wants to collapse. Her knees buckle slightly, but she catches the edge of the table. When she tries to meet my gaze, I look past her, focusing on a spot on the wall, as if I can't even bear to acknowledge her humanity. Is there anything I can do? She whispers, voice raw. I laugh. Or maybe it's more like a sharp exhale. You've done enough. I walk away, leaving her with the photos, the tapes, the overwhelming evidence of her own betrayal. That night, the house is quiet except for the storm raging outside. I sit in my study, reading old notes from stories I wrote years ago. Occasionally, I hear her muffled sobs. My heart stabs with each sound. But I let it pass, because she's not crying for me. She's crying for herself, for the life she's shattered. Days blur. She tries to talk to me, to corner me in the hallway, the kitchen, or on the porch. I say nothing. She begs me to let her explain. I say nothing. She tries to hold me, tears streaming, and I push her away, gently but firmly. She stops eating. She paces at night. She's become a hollow-eyed ghost haunting the house. I watch her break, one slow breath at a time. Eventually, she stops trying to talk. We exist in the same space, but we don't inhabit the same reality. Each day, I drop more subtle hints that I know every detail. I mention the hotels by name. Drop the date and time they checked in. I rattle off the last 4 digits of his license plate while tying my shoes. She flinches, says nothing. The tension in my body is unyielding, feeding on her anguish. I can't sleep anymore, either. But at least I have the adrenaline of my anger to keep me going. She has only guilt. Then I find a text from him on her phone. More pleased to meet. He's worried. Is everything okay? You're acting weird. She hasn't responded to him in days, apparently. Good. Let him squirm, too. I find out he's sending her gifts. Flowers, little notes. She tosses them straight into the trash, or so it seems. She might be trying to erase him from her life, but that's not enough for me. Not after everything I've seen, everything I've felt, the physical agony burning through my back each night, the numbness creeping into my mind. I decide to pay him a visit. On a gray afternoon, I leave work early and drive to the address I've confirmed is his, an upscale apartment building in downtown Seattle, sleek glass and steel. I slip inside, tailing another resident so I don't have to ring the buzzer. The lobby is all marble floors and modern furniture. A front desk clerk eyes me, but I walk past, calm, like a man who belongs. I know exactly which floor is his, which unit. My sources gave me everything. Up on the 15th floor, I stand outside Dan's door. I inhale, fighting a wave of pain that lances from my left shoulder into my chest. My heart hammers so loud I can feel it in my skull. I knock, once, twice. The door swings open, revealing a tall man with a neatly trimmed beard and stylish clothes. He looks confused, maybe a bit annoyed. Then his eyes narrow, and recognition flickers. "John," he says, stepping back in alarm. I walk in uninvited, shutting the door behind me. He moves back, hands slightly raised, as if I'm a cop about to arrest him. Maybe that's exactly how I feel, a lawman delivering vengeance. "You know why I'm here," I say, voice low. He swallows, tries to compose himself, glances around for an escape route. "Look, man, I didn't mean to. I'm not here to talk about what you meant," I say, cutting him off. "I'm here to give you this." I pull out another thick envelope, identical to the one I gave her. He flinches. He fumbles for words. "Are you threatening me? Does it matter?" I snap, my eyes boring into him. "You knew she was married. And you kept going." He tries to muster some bravado, but I see the flicker of fear in his eyes. "We're two consenting adults. Your issues with your wife, that's between you and her." I let out a short, mirthless laugh. "You think it's that simple?" I lean in. My chest aches. My arms tremble with the effort of holding back the urge to smash his face into the wall. I want to break every bone in his smug body, but I'm controlling it, channeling it into each word. "You think you can walk away from this just because it doesn't fit your agenda anymore." He backs off, raising his hands. "I'm sorry," he blurts out. I never meant to cause problems. She said she was unhappy." My anger flares like a molten spike in my stomach. I lash out, grabbing him by the collar. He stumbles, eyes wide with genuine terror. The physical contact sends a jolt of pain up my shoulder, but I ignore it. "You talk about my wife's unhappiness." I growl, voice trembling. "You talk about my life as if you had some right to meddle in it." The tension in my biceps is excruciating, but I press him against the wall, letting him feel the fury coursing through me. He's shaking, stammering apologies I don't want to hear. Then I let him go, stepping back, panting, trying to regulate my breathing before I lose the last shred of control. The room spins for a second, my heart pounding so hard it seems about to tear open my chest. I toss the envelope onto his coffee table. Photos, videos, phone records. I have it all. My voice wavers, but I hold it steady enough. One wrong move, and I show this to your clients, your colleagues, whoever. I'll bury your reputation. Do you understand me? He nods frantically, sweat beading on his forehead. Yes, I understand. Good. I inhale sharply, forcing down the searing pain that shoots through my back. You stay away from her. You never call, never text, never email. As far as you're concerned, Rebecca Abbott no longer exists. You do that, and maybe I won't torch your life. He nods again, looking like he might collapse. I turn, open the door, and pause, glancing over my shoulder. If I see your face near her again, you'll regret it more than you can imagine. Then I'm gone, moving through the hallway, ignoring the stares of a neighbor who peeked out at the commotion. I hit the elevator button, watching the numbers descend in a blur. Once inside the elevator, my vision starts to go dark at the edges. I slump against the wall, gasping for air. My chest feels like someone's driving an iron spike through it. The adrenaline is so potent, I might pass out. But I stay on my feet long enough to exit into the lobby. Outside, the cool drizzle slaps my face, and I inhale deep lungfuls of wet air. My legs feel like rubber. But I manage to get to my car, sink into the driver's seat, and squeeze the steering wheel, until my knuckles are bloodless. I feel like a wounded animal, battered inside and out. Yet there's a faint sense of grim satisfaction creeping in. I told him to stay away. That's the first step of my revenge. When I finally return home, it's late. The lights are off except for a soft glow in the living room. She's sitting on the couch, knees drawn up, arms wrapped around them. She looks at me, eyes swollen from crying. Something in her expression tells me she knows where I've been. I sit down in the armchair across from her. The silence is unnerving. My muscles are exhausted, throbbing with the residual tension from the confrontation. She shifts, opens her mouth, closes it again. For a long moment, neither of us speaks. Then I break the silence in that clipped, courtroom tone. It's done. She bows her head. Her voice is raspy. Did you hurt him? I consider the question. Not as much as he deserved, I reply, though my chest aches from the memory of nearly putting him through a wall. She nods, tears falling onto her pale cheeks. Are you going to leave me? I don't answer right away. Part of me wants to say yes. Another part of me wants to see her suffer the same insomnia, the same crippling sense of doom that's plagued me. I haven't decided. I say, each word carefully measured. But if you so much as text him again, we're done. Understand? She nods, looking like a frightened child. I won't. I swear. I stand, ignoring the burning in my ribs. Get rid of his things, any gifts, any pictures, everything. I want no trace of him left in this house. She scrambles to her feet. I already did. They're gone. Her eyes plead with me. John, please. I'm so sorry. I don't even know how it got this far. I raise a hand for quiet. My arm twinges with pain, the strain of holding it up. Save it, I say, turning my back and heading upstairs. I'm done talking tonight. She doesn't follow me. In the weeks that follow, our life becomes a vacuum of forced civility. She tries to resume normal routines, cooking dinner, tidying the house, reaching for me in bed. I let her do the chores, but I ignore her attempts at physical closeness. Each time she tries, I recall those pictures, the recorded voices, the smell of him on her clothes. My stomach roils with nausea. I move away, or I get up and leave the room. The physical pain lingers in my body, like my muscles are locked in a permanent fight or flight stance. Sleep doesn't come, not in any restful sense. She hardly sleeps either, jolting awake if I so much as shift on the mattress. We move through these days like ghosts. She calls her parents less, avoiding any questions about our marriage. I pretend to work more, though half the time I'm just driving aimlessly or sitting in a coffee shop, trying to remember who I was before all this, a man who cared about truth, who believed in loyalty. The ache in my chest never fully subsides. Eventually, she begs me to see a counselor. I refuse. There's no desire in me to fix what's been broken. Not yet. Maybe never. The emotional tension is the only thing that reminds me I'm still alive. My anger is the last vestige of strength I have. The coldness between us is almost comfortable now, like an armor I wear against future betrayal. Then, about 2 months into this stalemate, I find her sitting on the bedroom floor, arms wrapped around her knees, staring at the walls that were once covered in proof of her affair. I tore it all down weeks ago, but the faint outlines of tape remain like ghosts on the paint. She's weeping silently. I stand in the doorway, not moving. She lifts her gaze, and her tear-filled eyes lock with mine. She looks exhausted, hair unkempt, face gaunt. John, she whispers, I can't keep living like this. You're here, but you're not here. It's like, you want me to suffer, but I don't know how much more I can take. Her words wash over me, stirring a hollow echo in my chest. She's right. I've deliberately kept her in limbo, punishing her with every ounce of coldness I can muster. Maybe that's the point, I say softly, surprising myself with how calm I sound. My voice resonates with an undercurrent of pain. You took something from me, Becky. Something I can't get back. She breaks down, shoulders shaking with sobs. "I know," she says. "I ruined us." I lean against the doorframe, crossing my arms to steady myself. The mention of us is almost laughable. We haven't been us in a long time. "You want absolution?" I ask quietly. She looks at me, tears glistening on her cheeks. "I don't know what I want. I can't do this anymore. This half-existence." My chest tightens. The pain is sharper than ever, an electric shock deep in my muscles. "You chose this," I say, voice cracking. "You let him in. You gave yourself to him." She covers her face. "I'm sorry," she repeats, like a broken record. "I was lost. I was." "You were bored with me." I cut in, each word stinging. "You wanted excitement, and you found it. Now you're paying the price." She opens her mouth, but no sound emerges. I see a flicker of anger behind her tears. Then shame, then despair. All those emotions swirl in her eyes, and finally, she just slumps forward, forehead touching her knees. I let the silence drag on until it's heavy as lead. Then I step away, heading downstairs. I leave her there, alone, because I have no interest in comforting her right now. But that night, something shifts. I'm sitting in the den, a half-empty glass of whiskey on the table. My shoulder throbs, and I rub at it absently. The pain has become my companion. She appears in the doorway, face pale, but determined. "John," she says softly, "I need to know if you're going to stay. Or if," her voice falters, "or if you're leaving me." I look at her, and for the first time in months, I see the woman I married. The one who used to glow with life. The one who laughed at my jokes. The one who sat with me in hospital waiting rooms when I tore a ligament chasing a lead. A wave of conflicting emotions surges in me. Love, hate, pity, sorrow. "I don't know," I say, telling the truth. "Part of me wants to watch you suffer forever, but another part of me knows that's not living. Not for either of us." Her eyes rim with tears, but she doesn't break down this time. She steps closer, voice trembling. "I deserve your hatred. I accept it. But I still love you, even if you don't believe me. If you need me to leave, I'll go." I realize my fists are clenched. My nails dig into my palms. I exhale, feeling that old bitterness swirl in my chest. "You'll do whatever I say, is that it?" "Yes," she says, voice quavering. "Whatever it takes." 100 furious responses burn in my throat. Then, like the final crack of a dam, everything breaks. I bury my face in my hands, and for the first time since this nightmare began, tears come. They're hot, scalding, a mixture of pain and rage and heartbreak. She steps forward, uncertain, then kneels by my side. I feel her tentative hand on my arm, and I want to pull away, but I can't. Because beneath the avalanche of betrayal, I still remember the life we built, the vows we shared, the love that once lived here. We stay like that for a long time, me trembling with sobs I can't control, her quietly crying next to me. There's no tidy resolution, no sudden glow of forgiveness, just raw, battered emotion in a dark room. But it's a moment of truth, a step away from the icy stalemate that's been killing us both. Eventually, I speak, my voice muffled by my hands. "You tore me apart," I say, my words broken. "Do you understand that?" She nods, tears dripping from her chin. "Yes." I wipe my face, the physical ache stabbing me again. I'm not sure if I can ever be whole again. My breathing ragged, I search her eyes for some sign of sincerity. "But if I do stay, it won't be because I forgive you. It'll be because I refuse to let this destroy me." She flinches. "I'll take it. Whatever reason, I'll take it." A wave of exhaustion crashes over me. I feel ancient, hollowed out. "Then we'll see," I say quietly. "We'll see if there's anything left to salvage." She reaches for my hand. I let her take it, though I don't squeeze back. We sit there, in the silent room, hearts pounding, tears drying on our skin. Outside, the night is cold, but we remain, alive and aware, forced to acknowledge that even cold is an emotion, one we've lived with for far too long. Later, we climb the stairs to the bedroom. She hesitates in the doorway, as if seeking permission. I push past and drop onto the bed, the same bed I once taped all her betrayals to. She sits on the edge, several feet away. Neither of us says a word. We're beyond apologies, beyond demands. We're just two people who can't sleep, can't escape each other, can't outrun the damage we share. Morning brings a quiet new tension. She makes coffee, and for the first time, I drink it at the kitchen table instead of rushing out. We sit across from each other, silent, every cell in my body screaming in pain. But at least she's here, in the daylight, not slinking home from someone else's bed. Maybe that counts for something. In the days that follow, I find myself letting her speak more. Her voice cracks with guilt, with regret, with longing for a second chance. I don't know if I have any kindness left in me, but I stop cutting her off mid-sentence, and the physical pain that's been tearing through my back begins to ease just enough for me to breathe normally. At times, I wonder if I'm slipping, letting her worm her way back in, but the alternative is living in constant torment, numb to everything except hatred. One evening, she says, "John, can we go out to the lake house sometime? You used to love it there." A spark of memory flickers. My father teaching me to fish, the smell of pine in the early morning. For a second, I almost smile. Then I remember the weight of betrayal. "Maybe," I say, which is the closest I've come to a yes. She nods, grateful, eyes shining with a mixture of hope and sorrow. I still think about Dan from time to time. That envelope on his table. I wonder if he ever threatened to contact her again. He hasn't. I suspect he's too scared, or maybe he really didn't want to append his life. Either way, he's a ghost now. I've exorcised him from her phone, her mind, our house. But the real ghosts remain inside me. Because no matter how many pieces of evidence I burned, the betrayal lives in my veins, a permanent brand. And yet, I continue. Not because I've forgiven her. No, not by a long shot. But because I won't let this define me. If I walk away, I'll carry that bitterness like a disease forever. If I stay, maybe I can wrest back some control, some sense that I'm more than just a man betrayed. It's late one night, the two of us lying in bed. The room is still. I'm staring at the ceiling, feeling her presence beside me. She's restless, as always, but she tentatively reaches out, letting her fingers hover near mine. My heart clenches. Slowly, I let my hand move, barely grazing her fingertips. A fragile, trembling connection. In that moment, I realize I can choose to let the anger consume me entirely or allow a sliver of something else, something that might lead to healing. I don't know which path I'll take in the end, but I do know I'm exhausted from living in endless warfare, and I suspect she is too. I close my eyes, feeling the raw ache behind them, listening to the hammering of my heart. I think of all that's happened, the messages, the pictures, the stench of another man's cologne on her skin, the investigators, the silent torment. For the first time, it doesn't feel like a fresh wound. It feels like a scar forming, still painful, but maybe not eternally bleeding. I let my breath out in a slow, trembling sigh, and whisper to the darkness, "We'll see." She squeezes my fingers in return, so lightly I might have imagined it. Neither of us says another word, but the silence now is different. No longer the silence of condemnation, but something that might, just might, hold a single note of hope. And that perhaps is enough for tonight.